welcome everybody to another edition of the Pride of the Poconos Podcast. I am your host, Zach Sterniolo, joined again by sports editor Mike Coons and sports writer Shawn Suchi. Guys, how you doing today?
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Another successful weekend kind of for our football picks. Mike and Shawn, you guys both went 7-3. I went, I'm batting 500, so there's that. You guys had a lot better weekend than I did.
I have a question. Did Shawn ride my coattails? Is that what happened last week?
Do you want a real answer, or do you want me to pat it a little bit?
Give it to me straight. It's all right.
You are absolutely riding his coattails. He went 9-1 these first 2 weeks. You went 15-5 overall. It's not been bad, but Shawn, you've kind of struck gold here early.
Yeah, Mike and I had a great week, and just Zach continues to struggle. So it's got to be tough for him to come out here and just.
I'd like to say you're wrong, but it has been a struggle so far. I am 19-11 overall, riding the caboose here. Shawn sitting in the lead at 25-5. Mike, you've got a solid record, 22-8 so far. It's been a good year for you so far.
It's been okay. It's not Shawn's level of expertise, but I'll take it.
All right. So the three losses that both of you guys had last week, since you guys had the exact same picks, Deerif ended up losing to Pocono Mountain East last week, 46-40. We all took Deerif there. Pleasant Valley fell 24-7 to Northampton. We all took Pleasant Valley there. And East Stroudsburg North falls 20-13 to Allen. Again, we all had East Stroudsburg North there. I also had ESU topping number 6 IUP. That didn't go well. IUP won that one fairly handily, 38-14. And my Giants have no offense, and so they lost 19-3 to the Cowboys on Sunday night.
Hey, quick shout out to Pocono Mountain East winning their first game that they've won on the field in some time, behind a new quarterback and Rinker, who throws for 168 yards and 3 touchdowns. Fantastic win for that program.
Absolutely, I thought that was a step in the right direction for that team. They needed that. They held on late. Deerif almost came back there in the closing seconds, but
a win's a win. Doesn't matter.
Exactly. And to your point, that was the first win on the field in at least 2 years. So a much needed win for them. All right. So with that, I think it's safe to jump right into week 4 in high school football now. A couple of good games this week. Let's start with this one. We've got Stroudsburg at Deerif. Stroudsburg won over East Stroudsburg South last week, 34-13, and Deerif fell to Pocono Mountain East, 46-40. Mike, who you got in this matchup, Stroudsburg at Deerif?
Well, I got Stroudsburg, and I just like the way their defense is playing this year. Showed up, only allowed Eastburg South 13 points. Had a similar showing. I think they allowed Pocono Mountain West 12 the week before. This is all about their defense playing big. I love the way Ben Stokes is playing in the middle of that, anchoring that defense. Their secondary is solid. It seems like every other game it's a different guy, with an interception or making a big play, a big knockdown. So I see no reason to pick against Stroudsburg. I'm going with the Mounties.
Yeah, Stroudsburg held South to 0 points in the first half, so I got to go with Stroudsburg against Deerif. Deerif struggled against East. They gave up over 250 yards rushing and also over 150 passing, so I just got to go with the Mounties in this one.
Again, a great performance over the Cavaliers last week. It was the second half of that game wasn't as clean as it could have been for Stroudsburg. They scored 27 in the first half, only managed to score another 7 in that second half. But again, defensively, they were clicking. They were running on all cylinders. Ben Stokes, 2 sacks in that game. Nazir Lango with an interception in that first half, and they look like they are just kind of the team to beat in our area right now, especially with Pleasant Valley struggling the way they are. So we are all taking Stroudsburg here over Deerif. Let's move on to Pocono Mountain East at East Stroudsburg North. Shawn, who you got here?
Dylan Rinker has stepped in very nicely. He doing a good job getting the ball into his playmakers' hands. Hillman, Praise Andrews had a huge game. But the Cardinals tend to do this. They pull out a big win and then fumble and lose a winnable game. So I got to go with North here. I know they lost to Allen, but I just have a feeling at home, finally going back to East Stroudsburg North, they're going to pull this one out.
I really expected you to stick with your home team here, the Pocono Mountain East Cardinals. I am taking Pocono East here, especially with a win like that over Deerfield. I know they barely hung on, but like you said earlier, Mike, a win is a win, and they've been performing well all season long. For Rinker to come in there and perform the way he did, Tristan Hillman's been huge as a receiver. I think they've been consistently putting points on the board. And with the North team that's struggling to find its personality right now, I think you have to go Cardinals here. Mike?
I like Praise Andrews, too, running for 254 yards last week. How's North going to slow them down, if they're having issues with Allen? Credit Pocono Mountain East offensive line here. This is a couple of weeks now where Andrews has had some decent games. So, obviously, he's got some blocking up front. So, I like the Cardinals.
All right. So, Mike and I have got Pocono East. Shawn, you've got North. Let's move on to our next game. Allentown Central Catholic at East Stroudsburg South. Mike, we'll start with you here.
Yeah, I like Central Catholic here. Again, their running game is pretty good. Their quarterback seems to be healthy. I don't think there's any reason to think that South is going to pull this kind of upset. I thought that they would have given Stroudsburg a better game last week. That really didn't happen with only 30 passing yards, which a little bit surprised that they weren't able to get the ball in the air. So I'm going ACC here.
Shawn, who have you got in this one?
I have Central Catholic. West stuck around for about a quarter and a half against ACC last week, but they eventually pulled away. They also have a strong defense there, so I got to go with Central Catholic.
I'm going Central Catholic here as well. East Stroudsburg South had a better showing in the second half of that game against Stroudsburg on Friday night, outscoring the Mounties 13-7, but they have to play a full 48 minutes of football, and I don't think I definitely didn't see that last week against Stroudsburg. It's going to be a lot tougher for them to do that against ACC, who is 2-1 entering this one. The Cavs at 1-2. I am sticking with ACC here. Let's move on to our next game. Emmaus at Pocono Mountain West. Shawn, we'll start with you.
I'm going with Emmaus here. They're coming off 2 losses to Whitehall and Becca High, Bethlehem Catholic. Really close losses to them. Those are good teams, so I have Emmaus winning that one. West stuck around for a little bit against ACC last week, but eventually the Central Catholic pulled that one off, so I got to go with Emmaus in this one.
Mike, who have you got here?
Yeah, I agree with what Shawn's saying. Pocono Mountain West, I hate to say it, but, they've been traditionally slow starters, and they're playing like that again. So I don't think the Panthers can stay with them.
I'm with you here, and I think this kind of goes back to our podcast a couple weeks ago, Shawn, you saying that they kind of needed that win against Stroudsburg to make sure that they didn't fall into an early hole here. They didn't get that win, and they've fallen into an early hole here. It's been tough. This is not a friendly part of the schedule for Pocono Mountain West, so I'm sticking with Emmaus here as well. Let's move on to Allen at Pleasant Valley. Mike, who you got?
Yeah, for the 4th week in a row, I'm just going to keep rolling the dice until I get it right sooner or later. So gonna go with the Bears. Boy, Allen, good win for them last week. I can't trust them. I got to think that PV's better than them.
I would absolutely agree with that. I think Pleasant Valley, I know I said last week's game against Northampton was a must-win for them, and I still think it was. So I really don't have too much faith in the Bears right now. But again, to your point, I think they've got to be a better team than Allen, right? So it hasn't been pretty so far. They're 0-3, the Bears are, but I'm going to call this one as the one that ends their winless streak. So I've got Pleasant Valley topping Allen here. Shawn?
Yeah, you got to go with PV winning their first here. I think if they can run the ball and if they don't turn it over, it should be the Bears game.
College football now. Let's start locally. We've got Mercyhurst at East Stroudsburg University. Shawn, we'll start with you.
ESU had the tough loss last week. First half, they were fine. The offense was pretty good. The rushing attack was good. So I'm going with ESU this week at home. They finally back to East Stroudsburg after 2 road games. Mercyhurst lost their first 2 games, pretty close ones, but I'm going with the Warriors at home.
Mike, who have you got here?
Yeah, it's a tough one to pick, to be honest. Mercyhurst only lost by 4 or 5 points to Kutztown. It's usually a pretty good program, but it's hard to ignore the running of Jamar Anderson over at ESU. He's averaging 5.4 yards per carry, which usually when you think of ESU, you think of their passing attack, but this year it's been Anderson between the trenches, and you know what? With an offensive line that is a veteran group, they expected that they were going to have a good offensive line. Well, guess what? They got a running back who's taking advantage of that. So I like the Warriors at home, and they had 2 long road trips. They get to sleep in their own beds the night before now, and watch a team travel across the state to their backyard. 6 hours. It's a long bus ride, that whole kind of thing. So I'm going to take ESU.
I've got ESU here as well. 2 tough losses on the road to start the season, but I feel like this is going to be kind of their rebound game. They're going to start finding the rhythm. Like you said, Robinson has been a huge weapon for them so far to start here, despite the losses. So I am taking ESU here as well over Mercyhurst. Let's move on to Division I ball. We've got Georgia State at number 4, Penn State. Mike?
I'm not going to waste your time here. I think this is going to be a blowout. Penn State kind of flexed its muscle last week against Pittsburgh, who was feisty but doesn't have enough to hang with Penn State. And I think you're going to see the same thing this week. Again, I think Penn State wins big.
I'm with you here. I've got Penn State. I don't see anything about Georgia State that makes me kind of question this one. Shawn?
Yeah, it should be a good stat padding game for McSorley and Barkley, and good record padding game for us too. So I'm going with the Nittany Lions.
Yep. All right. That one seems pretty cut and dry. But this one, definitely the most interesting matchup of the week, in my opinion. We've got number 3 Clemson on the road at number 17 Louisville. Mike, we'll start with you here.
Oh, well, home dog, college football. Take them. Take the home dog. And you know what? When you got a Heisman type quarterback, like Lamar Anderson, did you guys see him play last week? He is unbelievable. Between him and the kid from Oklahoma, good luck picking a Heisman winner out of those kinds of guys. And Barkley over Penn State. There's some really good college football players, but watch this guy from Louisville. He is really fun.
Shawn, who you got here, Clemson or Louisville?
I think the Clemson defense will give Jackson a lot more problems than North Carolina last week. And North Carolina put up a lot of points against Louisville too. So I got to go with Clemson here, the better defense.
I'm going Clemson as well. With as strong as that program is, I know Louisville has a great team this year. Jackson is just phenomenal. But I don't think he's going to be able to do what he did against Clemson like he did against North Carolina. So I am taking Clemson here as well. Let's move on to the NFL. Shawn, we'll start with you here. We got your Green Bay Packers on the road at Atlanta. Who you got?
Yeah. Before the season, I have the Packers losing 3 games, and this is going to be one of them. So I got to go with the Falcons. They're going to be it's a night game, national TV. They're going to want to show something after choking the Super Bowl away. Green Bay played fine in the opener, but this is going to be the Falcons game and opening their new stadium too. So could be a shootout, but I'm going with the Falcons.
That's an interesting point because I didn't quite consider the fact that they'd be opening their stadium against the Packers here, or their first time on national TV since. That said, I'm still going Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. I think that team is still too good to really sleep on here. I think they're going to come in with a point to prove after a fairly slow start against the Seahawks before kind of pulling away late. I've got to go Green Bay here. Mike?
In the words of Lee Corso, not so fast. The Falcons open up a new stadium. Listen, you can't. I told you, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Packers had a good win last week, but you're never as good as you think you are when you win, and you're never as bad as you think you are, you feel you are when you lose. Good win for Green Bay, but going down to Atlanta, Matt Ryan and the boys are going to be all pumped up to play. And let the record show that I did not look at Shawn's picks before this deal. So, but I like the Falcons to win this game as well.
Well, there I am, all out on my own limb.
Hanging out.
All right, last game of the week. We've got the Eagles at the Chiefs. Shawn, I'll let you start here. What have you got?
Arrowhead's another tough place to play, so I got to go with the home team here. The Eric Berry's out for the year with Achilles, so that's a tough loss for them. Alex Smith had an amazing game in week 1. He tends to do that and comes back to earth, but the Eagles were without their corner, Darby. Could have been much worse, but he seems like he could be back 6 weeks or so. But I got to go with the Chiefs at home.
I feel like after the Chiefs' dominating performance in the fourth quarter of that game on last Thursday night against the Patriots, I don't see how you can pick against them here. The Eagles played very well against the Redskins yesterday on Sunday with a 30-17 win there. But with as well as the Chiefs played all together, I know Barry is a huge loss for them, but I don't see the Chiefs losing this one to Philadelphia. Mike?
I going to make it a clean sweep. I like the Chiefs too. After we all picked the Eagles last week to beat the Redskins, we all got that right. I don't like the fact that the Eagles lost their kicker as well. It sounds like Sturgis is out with a quad injury. Who knows who the Eagles are going to get in his replace? You guys pointed out Barry being lost on the defensive front for Kansas City, but I think playing in Arrowhead, from what I understand, it's one of the loudest places to play. It's not an easy, venue to be in, and I think the Chiefs win.
All right, so let's recap our picks here. Stroudsburg at Deerfield. I believe all three of us have Stroudsburg there. Pocono Mountain East at East Stroudsburg North. Mike and I are taking the Cardinals. Shawn going for East Stroudsburg North to pull off its first win of the season. Allentown Central Catholic at East Stroudsburg South. We've all got ACC there. We've all got the Bears topping Allen. We've got Emmaus topping Pocono Mountain West. ESU over Mercyhurst. Penn State over Georgia State. Shawn and I have Clemson, right?
I took Louisville.
Yep. Shawn and I have Clemson. Mike's got Louisville.
Lamar Jackson at home. Take the Cardinals.
Good luck to you. And then I've got the Packers. Everyone else has the Falcons, and we've all got the Chiefs over the Philadelphia Eagles. So that is all we've got for today's episode. Still working on a guest right now for next week's episode, but make sure to tune in because it might be someone from your school. To find out who that guest will be next Wednesday and to find all of our links, you can follow us on Twitter at Pocono Podcast. This podcast can be found on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Be sure to subscribe wherever and however you're listening to make sure that you don't miss out on our newest episodes. This podcast has been brought to you by PoconoRecord.com/contests. Last year, we gave away over $20,000 in prizes, so be sure to visit often to see what we're giving away next. Again, that is PoconoRecord.com/contests. Special shout out, thank you to our technical producer, Keith Stevenson, also our photographer here, going out on a limb. Keith R. Stevenson, excuse me. I really thought it was Keith is Stevenson, but whatever. That is all we've got for today. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, take care.